live in the studio. Thanks for coming in, Oubai. I mean, a strike like this likely is not an accident. So whom exactly were they targeting?
Well, Syrian first responders have told us what they describe as seen as hell on earth and a massacre. What caused the deaths here was a Toshka ground-to-ground missile. So when it hit the camp, it quickly led to a massive fire that not only spread in the maternity hospital, but spread throughout the refugee tents, the camps that many of these families had fled other parts of Syria as the Assad regime advanced, and they thought that they would be safe in this IDP camp. Now, sadly, this missile was launched by the Assad regime from a nearby hill a few kilometers away, an area that's also known to have a heavy Iranian Quds Force presence. So now back to the question, why? Well, we've seen throughout 2019, throughout the whole year, the Assad regime and the Russian Air Force have used ground-to-ground rockets, artillery strikes, and mass bombardments to include indiscriminate barrel bombings of population centers in Idlib province. Many believe that the Assad regime is attempting to use mass displacement and these bombings as a tool of terror to cause fear and to force these families to flee their homes. We saw that in Khan Sheikhoun. We saw that in other parts of Idlib that the Assad regime and its forces eventually occupied and control. And now, yet tragically, this is yet another horrific scene where we've seen these children who are badly burned, maternity hospitals purposely targeted time and time again. The NGO that controls this hospital told us that they thought this hospital was deconflicted, that they had given the United Nations the coordinates of this hospital to ensure that it was not struck by the Assad regime or the Russians. Yet again, we're seeing this repeat of indiscriminate targeting of civilians by the Assad regime and the Russians in Idlib province.
If we can, let's try to get a broader perspective here. I mean, from the regime's perspective, this is the beginning of the end. Is it, from what you've observed?
Well, they still have a very tough fight ahead if Assad's forces are going to try to capture even more territory in Idlib province. Just a few weeks ago, we saw the Assad regime's media actually show us some footage of Bashar al-Assad himself. He toured the areas that the regime recently captured. Those cities like Khan Sheikhoun are rubble. They've been almost completely destroyed. So it's a regime that thrives on a military tactic of scorched earth policy in order to capture territory that has fallen under the control of the opposition. And even more disturbingly, we saw footage of Bashar al-Assad standing next to artillery batteries as they launched their deadly shells and payload against neighboring villages. So it seems that Bashar al-Assad, backed with Russian air power, continues to act with total impunity.
Okay, Oubai, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks.